Today marks the 40th anniversary of the disappearance of Barbara McCulkin and her daughters Vicky and Leanne. Vicky was a 13-year-old girl and Barbara Leanne was an 11-year-old girl. They were abducted from Highgate Hill on this day in 1974, and we're taking the opportunity of this anniversary to try to reinvigorate the community's interest in this long unsolved case, and also place a new perspective on what we think may be the motive for this. There's been a lot of talk about criminal activities, criminal gangs, connections to Barbara providing information about certain crimes at the time. At the end of the day, this is a murder of a woman and two innocent girls. How anyone can justify within their own mind retaining information that can help us firstly locate their whereabouts, but also protect the identity of the people responsible for the murders is unknown to me. But even if they have some allegiance or criminal alliance to protect someone over the murder of Barbara, they can't use that same justification for the murder of these two young girls. So we're appealing to anyone who has such information that's been sitting on it to examine your conscience and get in contact with us and provide us the information that may solve this case and lead to the arrest of those people that are responsible.
Have you received any new information or evidence that's led you to this belief that it's not associated, or is it not associated with, say, the Whiskey or Go-Go fire? Is it more someone was sexually interfering with the children that you believe the motive is?
What's happened is in recent times we've had discussions with people, and the inference is that it wasn't motivated by her intending to give evidence, that it was actually motivated by a sexual motivation, and that sexual motivation being that the people responsible may have been discovered committing sexual offences against the two girls. If you look at the murder of children, the motive is, in the vast majority, sexually motivated or revenge motivated between domestic disputes. Now, there's no evidence to suggest at all that Billy McCulkin had anything to do with the murder of his wife or his two daughters, so that removes one motive, and the other one we're left with is sexual motivation. So there is credence in that suggestion that the motive may have been sexual. It has been raised before. It was talked about at the inquest way back when. So we're focusing on that, and we're appealing to people information to consider that, because your protection of the people responsible, your motives for that may be false.
You say people responsible. Two men were charged after that first coronial inquest. Are they still suspects?
Well, of course they were committed for trial from a coronial inquest. Of course they're still in the frame. In saying that, we are objective. We're open to all suggestions. They're definitely not being treated any differently to anyone else. At this point in time, we're open to information from the public to focus us in the right direction, whether that be against people who have been formally suspects or whether that's against someone who's a new suspect.
Have you spoken to those men recently?
No.
Do you intend to?
If the opportunity presents, or if there is a need to, we will, as we will speak to anyone that may be able to assist us with these inquiries.
Police received any tip-offs since in the past, couple of hours or the like, with the anniversary and the recent attention?
We haven't had feedback from Crime Stoppers at this point in time, and we're still hopeful that we will get information coming as a result of this meeting.
Over the past year, has Crime Stoppers received anything?
No, there's been no fresh information through Crime Stoppers on this. The thing is too, this is not a reopening of an investigation. This investigation has been open the entire time. We don't close cold case investigations. We do review them relatively regularly where we can to see if there's any new information that we may be able, that we can pick up on that puts us in another direction, and that's exactly what's happened here because of the 40th anniversary. We've reviewed it again and we're trying to seek new information.
Have you received any new information that's led you to change or refocus your motive for the crime? So has anyone come forward that's given you more information?
We've spoken to someone who's probably caused us to focus on that as a motive and put aside all the scandal and the association of this murder with all the other criminal activity that was occurring back at the time. And when I consider it against what we know about the motives for child murders, it makes sense to me, and I think it's very much worth exploring that avenue, and that's what we're doing.
The private investigator who was involved back in the day, back then, was he the person that you've spoken to, or is any of his information relevant to the case?
Look, I've spoken to that private investigator. He hasn't provided us anything that's caused any change in our direction or any decision that we've made to do what we're doing here today. Nothing he's offered us has had any impact on the investigation.
So you said that a sexual motivation had been kind of briefly looked at previously. Is this the first time, though, that police are really looking into that avenue? Oh
no, look, I'm sure it was investigated to a degree back then, but what we have is a situation where this investigation has been hampered by obviously a lack of willingness of people to come forward and provide information, and what we're now hoping that after 40 years of carrying that on their conscience, and with the knowledge that they may have been carrying it on in their conscience for 40 years for the wrong reasons, and that they may consider coming forward and providing us with the information we need. In reality, there's no justification for anyone's murder, but even in a criminal's mind, if they think that they can justify Barbara's because of what they believed at the time, they can't justify the murder of two young innocent children being taken from the security of their home and murdered, most likely in the presence of their mother.
The two men responsible at the time, who were charged over these murders, are they still alive?
Yes.
Are they still in Queensland?
Yes.
Do you believe that there is someone that has information out there that you're looking for, a specific person?
Yes, I do. I think there's multiple people out there that have information that can assist us solve this crime.
Has there been a reward considered?
There's a $250,000 reward has been posted for some time now for any information that leads to the conviction of the persons responsible.
Is that the only way you think that this crime will be solved, is from a person coming forward with specific information? Obviously the evidence is 40 years old now. Exactly.
That is. We need people with information about this to point us in the right direction. Even if it's to locate where the girls and their mother are either buried or were disposed of. Even if we only achieve that to give closure to the family, will be an enormous rewarding experience for us and all the investigators that go before us. To solve the crime and put the people responsible in jail for it would be an outstanding achievement, and there is a number of people, I believe, that can assist us in doing that.
Do you have people who you think were responsible? Do you have a set of prime suspects?
I don't think it's fair to say that. You've spoken about people who've been subject to it before through a coroner's matter. I like to try to remain as objective as possible in these investigations. We are taking a new direction. It may well be that they themselves can come and give us information that may assist in this. We're open to anyone coming forward with information, and we're open to any new information that might even point us in another direction.
You said that you believe that multiple people do have more information. Do you have an idea of who those multiple people are, or you just...
Oh, look, we can speculate all day. It may well be that someone we've never even thought of. Yeah.
Why do you think after 40 years someone would now come forward with the information?
The thing that goes to the heart of this is the children. It is one thing to murder an adult. It is another thing to murder two innocent children who could not be in any way considered to be a threat to any criminal organisation. It is a major step to take to go and murder 2 innocent children. And anyone who's got information that could solve that, would have to have had that weighing on their conscience for 40 years. If they've been justifying it because they think they're protecting their criminal associates out of some belief that Barbara is going to provide information about their gang, I don't believe they can justify that anymore. And I don't believe they could ever justify that in relation to the deaths of the 2 girls.
Is there any theory as to what may have happened to the bodies?
No. All we know is that they were at home on the night. Reports of 2 men being at the house. They disappeared that night, and there's been no sign of them ever since.
The 2 men being at the house, they were the ones that were charged after the coronial inquest.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Go get them for me.